Hey, are you wondering, you know what? I need to get a loan for my small business, but dude, I got bad credit. How do I fix that? I am going to tell you 6 specific ways that I've seen work over and over and over that people can use to achieve and get those loans, even if they've got bad credit. So watch all the way through and I'll tell you all 6. As entrepreneurs and business owners, we know that if we have a clear plan, anything becomes possible. And if you can have a clear plan, a clear process to create that plan, and a way to create clarity with your partner or spouse, you can drive to amazing heights. All right, so I started my first of 16 companies when I was 19. I have built them, bought them, and I've wrecked a couple. Not happy about that, but it's the truth. I've had the good fortune to work with people all over the world, and I've helped hundreds and hundreds of business owners grow their businesses. There is a ton of different ways that you can find loans and ways that you can finance. However, if you do have bad credit, you're going to have some challenges. I'm going to be blunt with it, but it doesn't mean it's insurmountable. So one of the first areas when people think loan, they traditionally think bank. The reality is most banks don't like to loan money if you've got bad credit. But if you can find a great small business banker, sometimes you can go in and have a conversation with them now. So in our book, in our courses at the Aspiring Solopreneur, we talk a lot about how do you build an amazing team of advisors for no money that can really help you know that when you launch your business, it is a no-brainer and you are off to the races. And to build that team of advisors, we were going to help you find a great small business accountant, a great small business attorney, a great small business insurance agent, and a great small business banker. Not all bankers are the same. Some bankers will turn you down flat just because the type of loan you're asking for is outside their parameters. May not even mean you have bad credit, it doesn't matter, they just won't do it. So finding somebody who does small business loans, and there's a bunch of other videos on the channel, so I'd encourage you to check those out on how to find a great small business banker. But if you've got bad credit, probably have some pretty big headwinds. However, if you can go in and you can pre-negotiate a contract with somebody, let's say you got a lawn mowing business. All right, I got a lawn mowing business and I just inked a deal with a management company and they have 150 houses and I need to go buy a couple pieces of equipment. We can say, look, the management company has agreed to do this for over this time period. Now, you may be able to go into the bank, and depending on how bad or bruised your credit is or what your relationships are, the bank may say, okay, I understand this, but we're not going to give it all to you, but we'll give you some of it. Or we'll give you partial loan because you're showing them that I have a commitment. If I deliver on this, they're going to deliver on that. Doesn't always work, but sometimes it works well. I've actually done multi-million-dollar real estate deals that way without actually having to dive in. Now the second is sometimes when you have this, you can take that same exact contract, you can walk in to a potential vendor. The potential vendor, maybe is the person who sells the equipment. You need more lawnmowers or a pickup or a truck or whatever that may be. They may say, yeah, your credit's bruised, but you know what? You got the contract, this makes sense, we're willing to do this, and we're willing to go so much down. Now maybe they won't go all of it down, but it's partial. So when we think loans, it's important to start thinking about pieces. How do we put the pieces together? And who are the people that are willing to potentially do that? So the 6 different things that we're doing, the number 1 is the bank. The second are those vendors. Who can we go to that are potential vendors for those? Now the third actually can be our customers. So again, using the lawn mowing example, maybe that company says, yeah, we know you're giving us a really good price. All right, we'll give you the first month in advance. Now they give you the first month in advance, they know you're gonna be working your tail off, make sure you follow through with it. This is your word's your most sacred thing you've got. But at that point, you may be able to live on part of that money. Maybe you take that money in and use that as a down payment with the bank. Maybe you use that as a down payment with a vendor to get the rest of the equipment you need. I've seen this over and over and over and over. I've seen it for inventory, I've seen it for equipment, I've seen it for basic building materials, a variety of different things. But this is another way of getting a default type of loan in advance. All right, so then there's 3 different types of somewhat traditional, non-traditional type of loans. One, if you own a home. Now, there's people who have bad credit, bad things happen sometimes, and you own a home, there's something called a HELOC, which is called a home equity line of credit. And a home equity line of credit says, I want to borrow money, and you can use this money to run a business, but you're using it against collateralizing against your house. So let's say your house is worth $200,000, you owe $100,000 on it. You could potentially go to the bank and say, can I get $50,000 loan or line of credit off of for this? And it helps you understand where your banker is, but then you've got that money, and that gets you started, gets you in there, and then you can go and pay it back off. I've actually started multiple businesses using home equity lines of credit. The next one, the fifth, checking my notes. Fifth one, I'm gonna encourage you to really, really be cautious of, but you can do it on credit cards. I mean, there's a movie from the 80s called The Hollywood Shuffle, and the gentleman who did the videos, he did financed the entire movie, and it would end up being a Hollywood success, but he financed the whole thing on credit cards, which is crazy. I do not recommend this. At one point, I started a business. I put the whole thing on credit cards. It was probably one of the dumbest things I ever did. I was able to get out of it. I was able to work my way through it. But the only way I really did that was by just being too stupid to know I couldn't fail and just kept working even though I shouldn't have done it. It's a way that it might help get part of the way there. Again, if we're looking at one piece of equipment that's going to get us over that hump. But traditionally, the credit card rates are so expensive. And there's games you can play where you can, shift things around a little bit for a couple months, and maybe you get interest free for a while or different incentives from your vendors. But really be cautious. And the last way, the sixth way that I encourage people to think about loans is you can go to your friends and family. Now, this is one of those things where it's really, really dicey, and I encourage you that make sure that no question, it is a no-brainer. And again, in our books, that's the big question we push for. When you start a business, you want it to be a no-brainer. To me, the definition of a no-brainer is, man, I'd be an idiot not to start this. If you have that, and you have that comfort level, that you would be willing to loan somebody else money to do this, then maybe you're comfortable going and talking to somebody. But if you do, make sure you keep it legal. Make sure you have document that is very clear on what happens, when you're getting paid back or how you're paying people back, what the interest rate is, what the time frames are, if there's collateral involved. And realize that you can be your brother. But when it comes time, if you owe money, holy smokes, they turn into Joe Pesci from Goodfellas. Screw you, pay me. So urge caution around that. But long story short, if you're wondering, hey, I don't have the best credit, but I'm really wondering, how do I get a loan for my small business? There are multiple different ways to do that. So ideally, you found some value in this. Hope so. If you did, like this, subscribe, check out. We've got 100 videos on this channel that help you, and it's never been easier or safer to start your own business. So ideally, found some value again. Thank you so much, and keep smiling.